that is being voted on by our government. And it's going to change and impact not just the US, but I think it's going to have a global impact because typically in large major financial arenas, how goes the US? Goes the rest of the world. So, welcome everyone. It is Tuesday, and if it's Tuesday, it's got to be Tuesdays with Tonya. Happy New Year. This is our first Zoom of 2026. I am excited to be back and doing many, many more. And we're going to start with our mantra that we always start with to get our minds prepared to be open to receive wealth, to inherit the riches of the earth. And go ahead and type in the chat, wealth is my birthright. And if you are someone that's driving and can't get to the chat, go ahead and make sure, let me move my chat over here. Make sure that you just say it out loud. Wealth is my birthright. And so, with that, we are going to get started talking about this new topic that should be in the forefront of everyone's mind. Again, it doesn't matter if you're in the US or not. Welcome, Rudy. Thanks for joining us. We are talking about this crypto landscape and what's to come. Excuse me, my screen. Sorry, guys, I was trying to move some things and it moved my screen. Talking about what's to come with the Clarity Act that is coming down the pike. And so, right now, even the people that need to vote on what should take place with the Clarity Act, if it should be approved or not, are saying, hey, wait a minute, pump the brakes. We need more in order to be able to make a decision about something that is so powerful that will impact global economies. And so while they are working on getting more information that's going to help them make informed decisions, I want to share with you what you should know and what you should be looking at. And so why are we talking about this? Markets do not fear rules, they fear uncertainty. And when we're talking about markets, we're talking about cryptocurrency markets, stocks, any type of financial market around the world, whether it's a grocery store or exchanges. If there aren't some type of rules, they don't know, if we can trade this, if we can do this, if this is going to be around, if we're going to be able to operate in this manner, there's uncertainty and that creates fear in the marketplace. So because they are looking at putting some regulation in place with this Mann Act, it's going to help us have some sense of certainty in the financial markets. So crypto, since its inception, has definitely lived in a gray area. It's kind of been whatever you want to do is okay as long as you aren't going too far out of some parameters. And we have seen companies that have gone off the rails, scamming people, coming up with fake things that they want to do and a reason to have a cryptocurrency, coming up with meme coins. All types of things have been happening, and companies were able to do anything that they wanted to because there was no regulation. Okay, so there were no clear rules. Companies lacked clear rules about what they could or could not do. Investors lacked long-term certainty because we're still in the mind frame. Okay, what's going to happen? Are they going to start taxing this? What do we need to report? Where do we stand? And so there are a lot of us that are still trying to figure out where we want to keep our crypto, where we want to hold it, if we want to move it, what wallets we want to work with, what cryptos we should have in our portfolio, which ones make sense to have in our portfolio. And so the framework of this Clarity Act and the US government voting on this, putting this framework in place for the US is going to make a whole difference, I think, for the global economy. And so the Clarity Act aims to define the rules of the road. They are aiming to say, here is what will be acceptable. Here is who will regulate the various cryptocurrencies. And so all of that is going to be hashed out. And guys, it's so interesting that the people who are deciding what will happen, most of them do not have a cryptocurrency wallet. Most of them have never been educated on cryptocurrency. They don't know what cryptocurrency is to save their lives, but they're going to be making the decisions for us who are in this space, what we can do, and for financial institutions, what will be acceptable. So it's going to be very interesting. I've been in talks with the SEC commissioners, and they've asked me to start working with them to do some of the educational components of cryptocurrency. I'm really excited about that. It's what I've been doing for years, and so being able to serve in a bigger capacity excites me. But it also makes me a little bit afraid that these people who are making these decisions for us, impacting our lives on a regular basis, have no clue what they're making a decision about outside of what the person in a particular party is trying to convince them of. And we know how that works, right? If you're on this side of the aisle, you may say, this is great and this is what we need to do. And it may be for your own reasons. If you're on this side of the aisle, Democrat, Republican, you may say, this is great and this is what we need to do and this is why. But who actually has the facts? We're not sure. Okay. And so what the Clarity Act is trying to do is at a high level, the Clarity Act aims to clarify what is a security versus what is a commodity. And oh, I know those discussions are going to be very interesting. Hold on a second. Got some people trying to get in. Give me 1 second. Hold on, folks. I see some people in the waiting room, but I am having trouble getting to the waiting room. Okay, there we go. And if you bear with me for one moment, once Latoya gets here, I'll give her host control so I won't have to jump out again. Hey, Miss Latoya, I know you are just coming in the room. Can I give you host controls? Okay, thank you, because I wasn't able to get to you when I was looking at the screen here. All right, does it show that you have the host control?
No, it just says me.
Okay, 1 second.
Okay.
A two-step process. 1 second. I had to jump out of here, guys. Apologize. Okay, was able to confirm it. You should have it now.
I'm good.
Yeah. All right, so what the Clarity Act is trying to do at a high level, it's aiming to clarify what is a security versus a commodity. It wants to define which regulators oversee cryptocurrency. And again, that's going to be interesting as well because who is training those that will be overseeing it? All great things happening ahead. It's going to create clearer compliance expectations. And so I'll get into why that's great for us in just a second. And it's also going to reduce regulatory guesswork. Again, all great reasons why this should happen. So, what could happen to crypto markets? If the Clarity Act passes, we could see number one, more institutional confidence. And when we have institutional confidence in anything, the value usually what? Skyrockets, right? And so that is going to be one of the pluses that we could see. In the interim, we could have some short term volatility. And what do we do around here? We buy the dip, we buy low sell high. So if you start to see volatility, I would caution you to really step back and make solid decisions. If you see a cryptocurrency start to go down for any reason, don't hurry up and say, let me get out of this and sell. I'm going to give you some things to think about in the next few slides when you're looking at which coins you should keep as a part of your portfolio long term. A big one, and y'all know this is near and dear to my heart, fewer scams or hype only projects. This will make me very happy because as of right now, in addition to the individuals who are a scammer, there is someone who set up an entire profile on what is it? TikTok, pretending to be me, using my videos and everything. And I'm like, oh, I look good over there, pretending to be me, and they're inboxing people, having conversations with them. And so I have to keep, people are calling me saying, did you just text me? You just sent me a weird text. I'm like, no, that's not me. And so that is one side of the scams that people need to be aware of. But there are entire companies that have been allowed to establish themselves and say, here's what we're doing, without any source of legitimacy, without any sort of legitimate developers, without a real financial plan. So many things that go into place that need to be put in place in order for typical securities to be shared with people are not in place when it comes to anyone who wants to set up a cryptocurrency company. And so it leads for people who have some money, can put some words together to look nice. They can come up with scams and hype only projects and scam a lot of people out of their money, which in turn leads people to stray away from this industry and think that the entire industry is a scam. And it's going to create greater long-term legitimacy. When we have greater long-term legitimacy as a whole with cryptocurrency, again, it benefits us all who are creating portfolios and trying to use this. I had my financial advisor on last year, and he came and talked from the standpoint of just investing, period. He manages my retirement portfolio, my insurance, a whole breadth of different portfolios there. And he talked about looking at how they look at investments in stocks over a 30-year period. Crypto has been unique that people have been able to come in and become millionaires overnight with certain coins. And if we want to be able to create more institutional confidence and be able to create a long-term legitimacy and have people look at crypto the way they look at stocks, where they're looking at a long-term portfolio play that could be a part of their family's legacy, there has to be some type of framework around it that makes sense. And so regulation doesn't kill markets, it reshapes them. And I want you to frame your minds around that. I know for a long time when the government first started talking about cryptocurrency and regulating it, I was absolutely against it. I was absolutely against it because the people who were trying to put the regulations in place were not crypto friendly. They were not interested in change and progress, and their regulations wanted to block people from having access, tax people without even wanting people to have access. So there were a lot of reasons in there and around it that made me say, no, I don't think this is a good idea, and I don't want them to do it. Now we're looking at it and I'm saying, okay, maybe this makes sense for limited purposes, not for them to be able to control our resources, but for them to be able to block other people from being able to scam people and do things that are harmful. I love that aspect of it. So the impact on everyday crypto holders, what this can mean for you. First of all, there should be fewer tokens available on US platforms. And I'll tell you why. Some projects will pivot out of the United States immediately because they will realize that they are doing things that will not fit within the framework of being legitimate, would not fit within the framework of doing something that's actually helping people. They're just going to leave. They're going to say, I don't have time for this. They're going to leave the marketplace. There should be, as I have been screaming from the rooftops, a stronger focus on utility and compliance. all 2025. I know I drove y'all crazy talking about coins that have utility and looking at projects and what the utilization of those projects are, what those tokens are being used for. Coins that have utility and work within the frameworks of this new compliance is something that we should all see as a part of this. And then again, less hype and more fundamentals. When we are able to be within this framework, and then people can make sound decisions without having to worry about if something's a scam. I mean, granted, someone will figure a way to still try to create some type of scam. That's just the way of the world. But when we have this ability to move forward without worrying about if initially a company is a scam, because they really will have to do a lot more to be a scam, it's going to help us overall. Okay. So, who could benefit the most? Historically, clarity benefits projects with real world use cases. Again, my favorite thing to talk about is what projects are happening out there, what problems they're going to solve, you know, understanding that when we all, most of us got into the computer space, we were handing out AOL disc like they were Michael Jackson's new CD, right? We were all excited, like, hey, take this disc so I can send you an email, put this in your computer. That was the framework and the technology that we were using at the beginning of us integrating into the computer space. We are in that same time frame right now. When it comes to crypto, we're about 1997, 1998. We are in the AOL disk part of crypto. What does that mean? Who has, and I know somebody on here still has one, who has an AOL email address? All right, nobody's admitting it to it on this Zoom. Um, somebody on here got one. They don't want to admit to it. You got one, Rodney? No? Okay. Well, usually on my Zoom, someone still has an AOL email address, but the majority of us do not. Times have changed. Technology has advanced. So right now, what is popular? What makes sense? What everyone is using as a use case for XYZ may not be what will be used in the future. Uh, Google came and took over everything. They cleaned the clock. Google and Amazon changed the way entire economies operate. Okay. Some new technologies will be advanced in the cryptocurrency space on Web 3.0 that will absolutely change the framework. And so we still have to be ready to grow with this technology. So, infrastructure and payment networks, in my opinion, will continue to flourish because the federal government, employers, we went through this on a Zoom of last month or the month before last, the different types of payment systems that all have to be put into place in order for people to be able to use cryptocurrency on a regular basis. Mom and pop, mom and yeah, mom and pop businesses that want to be able to accept cryptocurrency at their places of businesses, restaurants, any type of payment gateways. In my conversations with the SEC, they are even doing a deep dive into cryptocurrency ATMs. They want to make sure that fake ATMs aren't going up that are scamming people. So there are so many things that are happening that are moving, and something like that is very helpful because when I go to the gas station closest to my house, there's been a cryptocurrency ATM there for about 5 years now.
Oh,
It works, right? You don't want to go down the street from your house thinking you're going to a legitimate cryptocurrency ATM and find out that your money went to Never Never Land and it's a scam. And so again, the benefits for that is going to help everyone. All right. Custody, compliance, and tooling providers. Anyone who is in this space where they are in custody of people's cryptocurrencies, when someone's staking, if they are in charge of the compliance of the various currencies, or they're providing the tooling for the currencies, these are, again, the type of companies that will have major advantages with this regulation changes and who may see major benefits. Investors who understand why they own assets will also win. Remember, over and over again, I talk about not buying a cryptocurrency just because people on social media are talking about it. This is the absolute worst reason to buy one, because a lot of times that can all be just hype. It could be people who are paid to promote a cryptocurrency, or they're receiving some type of residual income for getting the most people to sign up with their link. It does not necessarily equate to a project with a use case or a project that has a good development team around it. And so when you understand why you want to buy that cryptocurrency, and you've learned from my previous videos how to analyze a cryptocurrency, it will help you make better decisions. And guys, your education will become the real advantage in this space. There aren't a lot of people who have the same type of knowledge base that you have, especially for those of you who have been with me for a long time, have been coming and receiving knowledge on a weekly basis, or coming to additional courses that I offer. I really try to make things crystal clear so that people can grow and develop their portfolios in a meaningful way. All right, so does regulation kill innovation? The short answer is no. Structure invites serious builders into the space. When it was the wild, wild west, companies who may be able to be behemoths and come into the space and really say, we want to make sure this becomes mainstream, didn't want to take part. They were scared about putting their finances, their resources, pivoting into this space. Think about Blockbuster when streaming, who was it? Netflix came to them and said, hey, let's partner together and provide videos over our streaming platform. They said no, they weren't interested. People aren't going to watch videos or movies on a streaming device. They didn't pay attention to the change. They eventually got left out and left behind. All right. And so when people aren't paying attention, they get left behind. But when there are things put in place to say, okay, like broadband wires, 3G, all the different technologies that made it possible for people to stream movies and watch a whole movie. That was the issue originally. People didn't have enough bandwidth to watch a movie over our computers the way we had them. When that framework was put together, we were able to do that. The companies that took the chance to say, yes, we're going to go ahead and be a part of this new economy, made out like bandits. Now, Netflix is buying everything. Netflix is buying other companies. Netflix is buying other streaming services. Pretty soon, you'll be able to access so many things on there. Netflix is in charge of live broadcasting. We watch live football games on there, live sporting events on there. Things are changing because they were the first to the table. They realized the value. They were pioneers in this space, and they kept moving and adapting. We have to have that same mindset. We got to pay attention to what's going on. When these frameworks and guidelines are put in place for us, we have to be here on Tuesday to say, okay, collectively, what does this mean for us? Where do we need to be looking for the next opportunities? Builders who focus on scalability and sustainability will be the ones who will win in the end. And so markets mature instead of disappearing when there is comfort around what is happening and crypto begins to grow. Guys, we are literally in 1997 of the internet. That was Web 2.0. The blockchain is Web 3.0. Think about that in your heads. Did I even have, I don't think I had a cell phone in 1997. I definitely could not look at a video on my cell phone on 1997. We could not FaceTime in 1997. We could not send money over the internet in 1997. So, with that in mind, think about all the additional things that are still yet to come in this space and why it's so important to be here learning and to continue to sharpen your sword so that you can be prepared to invest in future opportunities in the cryptocurrency space. And so, how to prepare no matter what happens. Okay, let's say they don't approve the act. How do you prepare? Strategic positioning basics. Number one, know what you own in your portfolio and why. If you don't know how to analyze that, don't worry, I got you. Let me know at the end of the Zoom. Focus on utility coins over hype. And I put hint, hint, a couple of my favorite coins for those of you who are new to the space. Number three, expect change, not chaos. I'm a firm believer. What you focus on expands. If you focus on, I don't know what's going to happen. This is going to be crazy. This is going to be wild. Everything that comes in your direction when it's related to cryptocurrency, the growth of this industry, the changes that are bound to happen will show up in the form of chaos. Be prepared. Know what's going to change. Figure out right now if you want to be Blockbuster or if you want to be Netflix. You got to make that decision and you got to make the moves and flow with it. The biggest and most important aspect to consider is to stay educated and avoid emotional decisions. And I'm so proud of the people that have been here and that are championing this cause. Miss Latoya up here, who is controlling the hosting for us, she had someone that came in, took their cryptocurrency courses, and then as we knew Bitcoin would dip, they stopped her and they were like, oh, I'm losing my money. What's going on? And she was able to help them look at, hey, go back and remember what you learned. Understand that the markets move up and down, and understand based on your training when you get into the market and when you get out of the market. The same will apply. Stay educated and avoid emotional decisions. Emotional decisions usually don't work with anything, not a marriage, not an eating choice. If I'm hungry, I need to stay out the grocery store. I need to go eat before I go to the grocery store because it gets bad if I'm hungry and emotional when I get to the grocery store. I was listening to the radio this morning, taking my grandson to school, and I heard that a young man had proposed to a young lady at in line at a Chick-fil-A or something, and they were saying, was this right? Was this the right place? And someone brought up a very good point. She said no. And they were like, well, what was the problem? Why do you think she said no? And a gentleman came on, a very wise gentleman said, she was probably hungry. You can't propose to us when we're hungry. That just doesn't even make sense. Emotional decisions usually don't work out. The same goes with your money. Don't make an emotional decision at your job. If somebody piss you off, you say, I'm out of here. I quit. No. Figure out how you make things better and make a strategic exit if you need to. But emotional decisions do not work anywhere in life. They definitely do not work in the cryptocurrency space. And so the real takeaway, this is not about fear or celebration. It's about awareness. I need you to be aware that this is happening. And I guarantee you, there will be a lot of clickbaiting on social media, people becoming, creating fear mongers. They're going to get on there, they're going to say things, they're going to hype things up to make people afraid and to get more clicks. The more sensational their nonsense is, the more people click and the more people make unprepared decisions. So be aware, be prepared, and it's about confidence in this change. Prepared minds don't panic, they position themselves. You are the prepared minds when it comes to this cryptocurrency space. And if you're on here and you're saying, what are you talking about? I'm not prepared. I don't feel prepared. I don't know what the heck's going on. Again, don't worry. I got you. I can start you off with free courses. You can decide I want to go all into a paid course that is self-paced, that you walk yourself through and it guides you. Y'all can vouch for me in the chat if you want to. If you enjoyed the self-paced course, the online self-paced course, and then I also offer one-on-one coaching where I work with people directly to help them completely understand cryptocurrency. I help them understand how to set up their portfolio, to get everything started and get their questions answered. No matter what it is, I got you covered. And I also am here every Tuesday giving additional education. Imagine, if you will, you took a 2-hour course in kindergarten. You learned your ABCs, you learned your numbers, you learned your colors, you learned how to be friends and share, and then you never went back to school again. None of you would have been able to even get on this Zoom. That is what we're looking at. Again, we're talking about being at 1997 of the internet when we weren't doing anything on the internet. Right now, if the internet stopped working, period, and people did not have access to the internet, I would say the world would essentially stop and anyone under 20 years old would not be able to function. They've lived their entire lives with the internet, including going to school. The kids in my area, they don't even have books. The schools don't offer them the ability to carry books. Their reading assignments, the books they read, every single thing that they do is digital. So imagine if all of that went away and you had to start from scratch. That is how impactful Web 2.0 has been. Is anyone on this call right now that is here and they're present because they became wealthy during the progression of Web 2.0? I was an investment banker at the time, and I still didn't understand what was going on. And I turned away from financing projects because I was intimidated by the technology. We are here in Web 3.0. I don't want anyone turning away. I want everyone to be educated, not only just to be able to finance your own portfolio, but to also invest in other projects. And if you so choose, develop your own cryptocurrencies and solve problems globally with your cryptocurrencies. And so be a prepared mind. Don't be afraid. Understand that whatever area of need you have in learning how to be prepared in this cryptocurrency space, I gotcha. So thank you all for coming out. My information's here on the side, but if you want me to communicate with you, you can put your email or cell phone in the chat. Oh, thank you. It says she's the best. I was in finance, commodities, and trust related products, learning along the way. Let me see what else. Be patient, don't make rash decisions. The course is perfect for anyone that needs a clear understanding of how cryptocurrency works. I loved it. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Yes, Rodney, have a candlelight dinner before you propose to a woman. Can't get a marriage from a hungry woman. Yeah, so yeah, you can put it in privately, put your cell phone or your email address if you want me to share more information. But also the website is here, tonyalawrence.net. Again, I have my free course that you can start with. I have the free community that you can go in. Inside the community, there is a series of 6 videos that get you prepared. Again, free. 6 videos that get you prepared to start learning about cryptocurrency. Sometimes people are like, well, when it comes to going back to school, say for college, an adult learner. I was someone who went back to college 2 different times. And each time I was like, Lord, things have changed. These new writing formats, I don't even know the new writing format that they're using right now. My son asked me to help him with a paper. He's down in Louisiana at Xavier. And I was like, baby, we're gonna have to chat GPT this or something because I haven't used the writing format and I know it's changed, right? They went from two spaces after the period to one. Well, who did that? Who made that decision? That's dumb. Things change, and sometimes this starting the process of learning something new can feel intimidating. I don't want anyone to feel that way. So if you need to start with the 6 videos that are free in the free community, start there because I really help you understand the basics of cryptocurrency, get very familiar, and it doesn't even matter if you start with a paid course, you're still going to feel that way when you get started. I focus on making sure, especially adult learners who are busy, I cut through the fluff. I get to the meat and potatoes on how you can get these cryptocurrencies in your portfolio and start creating a legacy for you and your family. So, with that, again, thank you all to all of you who are new, who I haven't met before. Hello, hello, hello. I'm Tonya, the blockchain queen. I know some people came on later. It's a pleasure to meet all of you. So happy to have you here. And let me make sure I save this chat. All right. Again, pleasure to meet all of you. Make sure you are at a minimum in the free community. And then if you want to be a part of the paid education that happens every Tuesday, it's ridiculously cheap because I didn't want it to be a buying decision for anyone. It's $7 a month. And you get this level of education. And I go specifically into different topics every single week. So $7 a month, you get to come every Tuesday. 30 minutes of education get you in and out and help you learn something that's going to change your life in the cryptocurrency space. And that is by signing up with the inner circle. And then also inside the inner circle, there are some other free goodies there for that extra level of attention that I give to the people who are in my inner circle. So, whatever you need, I got you. Thank you all for joining me, and we'll see you next week. Bye bye.